Damn, it's true. Oh, the Chantry must love you. A Qunari mercenary is the herald of Andraste. Who'd have thought?
Qunari. It's a term that many people wouldn't automatically recognize unless they were part of a certain fandom. Qunari are defined as either a religion or a race of characters from the Dragon Age games. The race is consisted of 7 to 8 feet tall men and women who are horned and with grey-toned skin. As a religion, however, Qunari is the term used to describe people who follow the Qun and are looked down on by a lot of Thetas. By following the Qun, a person is a part of a society where people are forced into a role and are assigned their job for them. It took me having a random conversation with my roommate to notice the similarities of Qunari religion and the perfect city that Socrates talked about. In the Republic of Plato, Socrates goes into detail about what a perfect city would consist of. A lot of these ideas that he had fit into the Qunari mentality. Thinking of this, it made me realize, did Socrates ever consider how the rest of the world would react to this kind of civilization, or what would go wrong with it? I think the Qunari is a perfect example of this. The reason the Qunari is a perfect example of Socrates' perfect society is many things. One big one is going back to Socrates' teachings. He dictates in his argument against the brothers that the soldier's main priority is to be the city. This state of mind, I can assume, should also apply to each profession, that the society as a whole is the first priority. This is how the Qunari think. Every person in the society is a part of what makes the city, and it's their duty to keep the society doing well. The next example of that is the jobs. As a part of the Qunari, you are given a defined place in the society, one that is permanent. It's decided by the Qun.
Since we arrived, I have seen nothing but greed and weakness. Dwarves, humans, elves, just festering. No order, no goal. You are one of the few I have met with any ability. And yet this too was random, a result of selfishness. I cannot fathom how a mire like this can be justified. You say we should leave, but how can you bear to stay in this chaos?
I agree. It's a mess.
But you don't see that as a problem?
I see it as an opportunity, and I intend to take full advantage.
Karisten are soldiers. The Qun made it so. They can never vary from that assigned path, never be other than they are meant to be. But they are free to choose within that role, to accept and succeed, or deny and die. Glory is clear and defined.
Or more importantly, the Tamaziran. Tamaziran is a Qunari female who is in charge of taking care of the children, which leads to the next main reason that the Qunari defines Socrates' society. The children in the Qunari society aren't raised by their parents. In fact, they don't even know who their parents are. As stated in one of the games...
No offense, Krem.
None taken. At least a bastard knows who his mother was. Puts him one up on you Qunari, right?
These children are raised together in a group by Tamaziran, which, like I said, are female Qunaris that take care of and later evaluate the children. It's the Tamaziran that give the children their jobs, their roles in life as Qunari. And this leaves the Qunari society as seeing each other as all one big family. The final reason is along the same line as the last one. The children in the Qunari society are bred for specific purposes, but that doesn't guarantee their position. The best example is if a child is bred to be a soldier, but has a high intelligence, then they'll be placed where they're best to be used by society.
Raise us in these units of kids all our own age. They're like teachers or chantry sisters. They also help figure out what jobs we should do. They had me pegged for military work early on. When they learned I could hit stuff and lie, they started training me for the Ben Hasra.
This is one thing that was talked about in Plato's Republic as well. That children, depending on their parentage, are given a certain job. However, if they show greater aspect or greater help in a certain different area, then they're placed in that area because they better the society that way. Of course, those are just the reasons that the Qunari represent Socrates' ideal city. What about the thought on what the rest of the world would think of this perfect society? Sure, if the rest of the world was centered on the same kind of society, there wouldn't be anything different about them. If the city, however, existed in a world like our own, there would be some problems. As shown in the Dragon Age games, the Qunari people are thought to be brutes, and as a horrendous group. A lot of the world doesn't understand the Qunari way and tends to think badly about it. Why would someone wish to live in a community where your life is decided for you? Not only that, but you don't have a separate identity. You don't have the ability to talk bad about the society. Why live in such a strict life? I think this relies on how people would react to the Socrates ideal city if it existed now. People are so used to being free to make their own decisions about life that having that taken away would be strange and rather restricting. But if you're going to think about how the rest of the world's going to view this society, you also have to think about the opposite effect. How would this society think of the rest of the world, especially if the rest of the world didn't follow their views? It's understandable with this ideal city that even it being a hypothetical one, that Socrates didn't really put much thought into that. And in fact, it's later stated that his ideas on the whole political system was changed quite drastically, especially in the book The Law. But with society that's devoted to taking care of itself, where every person works to better the society, not as an individual gain, it's logical that they might actually look down on a lot of the societies in our world today, or just in different societies in general. This is also shown in Dragon Age. The Qunari look down on all the other rest of the world because they think they're inferior. The Qunari strive for perfection, for intelligence, and for being a master of all races. The rest of the world to them is inferior and should revert to the Qun, following it.
Their actions are mere symptoms. Your society is the disease. They have chosen. The Vidithari will submit to the Qun and find a path your way has denied them.